Have you seen this podcast? Coming from the garden aisle. Have you seen this podcast? Aldrine, Aaron, and Kahai. This is the podcast. This is the podcast with lots of aloha. Here they come from Kauai.
Hey everyone, it's me. Aldrine is gonna be zooming in with us, so yeah, we'll just push it to Aldrine.
Yep, there he is.
What's up?
What's up?
Oh, people are saying that they're not getting sound from Aldrine.
Oh, okay.
Me. Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
there.
sorry about that.
Hi, hello everyone, and welcome to the Ukulele Ground podcast. What we do here is we answer any and all of your questions, however we may get them. You probably know what even if you couldn't hear, you know what I did, right? See what's up,
All the
Aaron?
same
What's up,
things,
Kai? 'Cause-
yeah.
yeah, same thing. Don't worry about it. It's the same exact intro. Okay, so yeah, if you have questions, you can email it over to us. You can voicemail us, or you can. The easiest way is to type it on the live chat if you are joining us live right now. Kahai will see the live chat questions. He'll relay it over to me. I'll give you my best 2 cents, and the other two guys will give their 2 cents, and we'll give you the best 6-cent answer to your question, and we will give you the best 6-cent opinion to your question. We don't got A's, we got O's here. You know what I mean? Like don't expect too much. Don't expect like concrete answers. We're probably gonna be like, maybe, like perhaps. You're gonna get those kind of answers, right, Kahai?
Yeah.
But the best maybe answers that we can provide. The best kinda and the best perhaps answers that we can provide for you, okay? So just a little, just a little explanation of why I'm not at the office. Everyone in my house is sick right now, and we're kind of going through a little like house crisis because everything is kind of crazy. So my daughter, like my oldest one, has been sick for a little bit, and now we're like, oh well, the baby's gonna get it sooner or later, and lo and behold, the baby got it. So now the baby's sick, and Heather and I have been kind of flirting with that, with being a little bit sick, for the most part. I've been okay. Like I took a flu shot not too long. I think I talked about it here on the podcast about taking a flu shot, so I'm fine. But everyone else has been crazy, and the baby's she's at that stage where she only wants like her mom basically. So like last night she's just like waking up, like every hour or two, and of course Heather has to go and like help her out because I can't do anything. So Heather's like super tired because she hasn't slept, and then so I basically have to clean the kitchen and clean the house yesterday, and I forgot to take out one open thing of trash, right? Cat gets into it, and cat eats like garbage. If you don't, if we don't like put everything away, the cat will eat it. So Nestle's throwing up all night. So we wake up till like it's every like the hallway, like the hall rugs that we have's got throw up on it, like the rug in the living room's got throw up on it, like floors got throw up on it, like everything. So poor Heather, like kind of like sleep deprived, had to go and like and take care of the rugs and use the what you call the rug cleaner, make sure like to get it all out through a bunch of the other rugs that we can, like the small ones in the wash. And then I had to get the kids, and of course the kids, especially the youngest one, is just gonna be screaming her lungs out because she wants her mom. And even if she did have her mom, she'd still be screaming her lungs out. Yeah, it's been an insane morning. So I'm needed here, so I couldn't, so. By the way, if you hear crying or screaming in the background, I apologize in advance. It's probably gonna happen sooner or later in this podcast, but we're gonna try to keep the kids as as far from this room as possible. But you never know. You never know. They're kids. You can't really control them. All right. So yeah, that's why I'm here. It's been hectic, and what a great way to end my 2024. It's kind of it's kind of telling like how this year was in general. So, but happy end of 2024, guys. What are you guys doing for New Year's, Aaron, Kai?
Aaron, you wanna go first, or
Yeah, just hanging out with my fiance's family. Pretty
Nice,
much what we did
nice.
for Christmas too. So yeah.
Good. How about you, Kai?
yeah? I think fireworks on New Year's Eve with my nephew, and then we do Japanese style like ozoni for New Year's.
Ooh,
Yeah,
it's good stuff,
but
man. It's good stuff.
I was telling Aaron that I don't think anybody in my family likes ozoni, so we just eat it for the tradition, right?
What?
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. That's the mochi soup, right?
Yep, yeah. For
Oh,
good
that
luck.
stuff is so good. So I was actually like, I was flirting with the idea this year of getting like a mochi maker. You know, those small mochi makers. It's just like the four of us. Like so. I was thinking about like getting one of those and just making like a small batch of mochi for like ozoni or just like for the kids or just freeze them. Like and because my kids are Japanese, my wife's Japanese. I kind of wanted to do like a mochi thing for New Year's, but I don't know. Never it just slipped my mind. Kind of want to do that maybe for next year. I like ozoni. You don't like ozoni?
It's all right. I think everybody in my family is like, listen, when you eat it every single year and you're told you have to eat one mochi, otherwise you can't eat anything else for breakfast, is like when you're an adult, you're like, I'll eat the one mochi, but it's to get to breakfast or it's to get to the other food.
Yeah, but you eat breakfast like every day, right? Like, and then but you only have that ozoni like once a year. Like what, Well, I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't do that, so I don't know. But I have like fresh cooked turkey once a year, and I'm like, dude, I can't wait to dig into that thing. Or like, I also make I make ham for Christmas, and I make like a split pea soup. Like after like with the ham hock and stuff, and it's one of those like all those things that I only have once a year. I'm like, yo, I can't wait to like just put that thing in my body.
Yeah.
I would think it was the same with ozoni, but I guess you can have mochi anytime, right?
Yeah, and I like actual mochi. Like I like mochi, I like peanut butter mochi or ong mochi. I like when it's
Yeah.
mochi, but like when it's just in soup, then it's just like, oh, it's okay. Just sitting in soup
No
and
real flavor to it. It's just
Yeah.
the
Okay,
the
so
soup
for
is supposed to be the more flavorful
Yeah.
part, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It is. It is. All right, so for me, I don't know, went to Target yesterday and I bought like a $20 like variety pack of fireworks. I think I'm just gonna do that with the kids. And then like, cause it gets insane, man. Like, I mean, the $20 was like the cheapest like variety pack that I saw. And it's like maybe like a box this big, maybe it's got like three of like the like shower sparkler things, and it's got like it's not that much, but then my kids are not that into I'm actually super into fireworks, but then again, like like the good ones are like 70-80 bucks and up, and I'm just like, dude, I mean, you're literally burning your money away. I'm like, $20, that's what I'm comfortable like with, like watching just burn away. Like after that I'm like, I don't know. And that's all mainly for like for tradition and religious, like kind of reasons is to do it, but for the most part I'm just like, you're kind of just watching your money burn away. So that's what I'm doing for New Year's, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty much same. So Kahai, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have a question from our own Tim Wilson.
Hey Tim, hey, is that T-Flow?
Yep,
Yeah.
T-Flow. Yeah. And I got this
Go ahead.
question earlier today, but it's like I didn't have enough
Okay.
time to make a slide for it. So I'll read it
Sure.
out and then I'll send you
Yeah.
it too. He's asking specifically in Melt With You. The chords for the verse are C and F, but you're playing an
Yeah.
extension on the F at the ends of lines 2 and 4 in particular. This raises several questions. Which extensions are you playing, and why did you choose those extensions rather than others? Yeah, and then he has
Okay.
more to it too.
Okay. So C and F. I'll stop the world and melt with you. So this extension right here is basically what I'm using, which is a you can think of it as like a sus2, because it's really like, so if you're playing F, I'm adding the G in there. I mean, I guess I can add it here, but then I want it to really stand out, so I'm covering the F, because the F is what you want, what your ear gravitates to in F, right? So if I get rid of that and add the sus2, it makes that chord sound like something else, where I'm still playing like three, or I guess two out of the three notes. So the three notes are F, A, C. So I'm now playing G, A, C. So just kind of masking that F, and the reason why is because that suspension there makes it, makes for good, what do you call it? Not necessarily tension, but it just suspends that, that chord a little bit more, so that when I get back to C, the G is also there present. So I'm suspending this G, which is also present in C. So I'll stop the world and melt with you. So then when I get to C, sure, you hear the C, but the transition gets a little bit cleaner, because you already have that G in that next chord. I mean, you can honestly add whatever you want. I sometimes add the D in there for it to, it would technically be a D minor, but since the background is playing F still, so if Aaron's playing F and then I play that D, it then becomes a 6, so. I'll stop the world and melt with you. So you can do that. You can do the G. But the reason why I pick these are, yes, like for the musical movements that it's creating, but for the most part, it is just like something for my ring finger to do. You know what I mean? Like my ring finger either goes here, goes there, or goes there. That's another extension. Or my pinky finger will do that if I'm too lazy. So once again, it goes, I'll stop the world and melt with you. You can do that. Or you can do this. I'll stop the world and melt with you. Okay? You can also do that. I'll stop the world and melt with you. So just the kind of the hammer-ons is creating a small little melody line as well, and it's providing with those kinds of movements and suspensions in the chord without working too hard. I mean, if you if you think about it, all I'm doing is adding one finger, and it makes that, plain old F chord into F, like suspended 2, I think it's like a lot more fancy, or the 6, like F6 or whatever. So it's kind of getting the best bang for my buck, like without working too hard, and making those chords sound a lot more colorful, and the movements a lot more prominent between the two chords, instead of just going C and F, C and F. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other part to his question is how can I go about building this skill? I know that there's a improvisational aspect to this, but the choices are clearly not random, and I obviously don't need to learn every extension for every chord. This extension dance seems to come up most frequently with G, D, and F, and usually with the 2 and 4 extensions. So how do I get from knowing the chords of a song to being able to freely add extensions? It's not solo secrets as much as fill secrets, right? Or passing note secrets, something like that.
Okay, so for the most part, like how I started doing it is by actually not knowing, because I've been doing that like before I did like extensive like music theory and stuff. Like only now, because I know a little bit more music theory than I did before, I can explain what those chords are. But I was playing those before I could explain it. And this is why. It's like whatever, and the reason why I said F, and I'm only going, like where my ring finger can reach. So I know in the key of C, I know that this note is good, that note is good, all these notes in C are all good. Okay? I don't need to know what extensions or what new chord it makes. I just play an F and then add like one finger to a note that I know that is right in the C scale. I don't even need to know the C scale. You just put your finger wherever. If it sounds good, then it sounds good. If it sounds bad, then you're gonna immediately hear like, okay, I won't do that again. Like I'll maybe like that works for something else. Like for example, I play my C string 3rd fret rather than 2nd fret. Just as an experimentation. I'm playing F and then I added it to the 3rd fret. It's not going to necessarily sound that great in C, but that's an F7 chord belongs somewhere else. But it's just getting to know your instrument, what it does, and what it does when you add things to it. You don't gotta know the music theory behind stuff, as long as it sounds good. And that was like basically the secret to the Beatles, right? The Beatles would just play whatever sounded good. So play chords. Just start out with a simple C chord and add whatever extension that you want to do. And then next time you play a chord in C, then add some of those, that you've heard before. So you can even just go, I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference. And it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I will do. Whatever. So I'm just adding like whatever note in the C scale. And it's not like in real time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do an F sus2 or like an F6 or whatever, or I'm gonna add like a C9 or anything like that. Like I'm not like consciously, at least I'm not. I know guys like Abe and stuff probably would, but I'm just adding like notes in that chord that would sound good. It's just based on experimentation. So anyone can do this. Okay, like each chord that we play, like it is going to use up maybe 3 of our fingers, which means you always have 1 or more fingers to work with, unless you're playing, like some of the like a diminished chord. Of course, not all chords, but for the most part, most chords that we play require only 3 of our fingers to play them, and that's one of the advantages of an ukulele. With 4 strings, the most is going to be like 4 fingers, but for the most part, 3 is all good. Okay, and you can add an extension with each one. You mentioned G, and adding an extension, with the G chord is easy, only because, when you play G, your pinky, it's almost like natural that it wants to do something else rather than just hover in the air, So if we do, and that's why you hear that all the time, like every guitarist knows that riff. It's like it's in every guitarist trick bag, like, and why not for ukulele as well? So for ukulele, or if you can even, so there's all those extensions you can add to G. So G, you can add this, you can add this, you can add this, you can take out some. So there's so much things that you could do with with G that would make it sound much more than than a G. It's just, as an Asian, it's kind of like adding MSG to it. Just it's a little, it's got that umami in there, right, Kai?
Yeah. And it's like, it's such a small thing. Like you really just want to add just a little bit, and it's like here and there.
Yeah.
That if you mess up,
you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, if you mess up and you actually play the wrong note, it's like one of the safest ways to kind of figure these stuff out, right? Because if you mess up and add the wrong note, then it's just like, just take your finger back off again, and then it's like you're on the chord. So it's like people will probably like not be like, oh, you see what he did there? He put a C sharp instead of a D. What a dummy, right? It's like, no.
Yeah, so that's it. Like honestly, like, because my fingers, I don't know if it's like my natural like ADD just kicking in, like my fingers don't know what to do with themselves, so like I just place them in random places, and it's just it's creating like these new sounds in my ear. They're like, oh, that sounded pretty good, I'll do that again, for like the next time I play that chord. So it's just about experimenting and seeing what works, and hearing what sounds good. That's really like all that is. I'm not consciously thinking about like, okay, cool, so the song is in C and F, what are some extensions that I can use. It's more just like, I see the shape. Yeah, so here's the shape, and here's two fingers free to add whatever I want to that shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you think about the timing too, with melt
Yeah.
with you, you're singing, I'll stop the world and melt with you, and then wait around for a little bit. So it's like during that
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
that's like when it would be appropriate to add a little bit of motion to your chord, just to keep it, like
Yeah.
fresh,
So
not
movement, yeah.
stale. Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
like that ADD kind of mindset, right? Is just like, I'm not doing anything else, so I might as well do
Yeah.
something with my pinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just like the audience might appreciate it there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
it's just extra color. Like, who doesn't want like extra color? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think all of us are like that, right? We just
Yeah.
experimented, or like we
Yeah.
heard it. We heard like a recording of somebody doing it, and we didn't know what
Yeah.
they were doing. So we just tried a bunch of things
Yeah.
until it got close, and it just becomes part of your playing after a while, right?
yeah.
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 And
I
as
remember. Oh no, sorry. What?
Go.
No, yeah, we were in Seattle, and I think it was we were like, at that Seattle ukulele, or the Seattle Live Aloha festival. Usually, that last night we hang out in the lobby and just jam. And I think it was Arden. Arden was like watching us just jam.
Yeah.
And later on, he told me like, oh, I really liked what you were doing, like comping over there, because I was just like playing along, and I like honestly couldn't remember what I was doing because I was just playing stuff. But obviously, I was doing things other than just the standard chord.
Yeah,
And he was saying like, I really like how you were comping there.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Even
I don't know what I
that
was
word, right? Comping.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I guess I was comping.
Yeah, that's the right word. But I was obviously just like playing the song and like seeing what the changes were. But my fingers were also doing other things, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think me and Aaron were talking about this, and it's like, it's like magicians. Like, people will be like, how did you do that trick? That's amazing. And it's like, well, if you talk to enough people, you'll know most people will pick the Queen of Hearts. So right off the bat, you can say like, pick a card, any card. Oh, I'm guessing you're picking the Queen of Hearts. And then people's eyes get big. And
Yeah.
you're like,
If it hits, then
nailed
hits.
it, got it. But it's like, if it doesn't, then you just move on and people don't remember that. And it's the same thing with this, where it's like you're playing something and you try something out, and if it hits, it's like, oh, it worked.
Yeah.
And then if not, it's like, oh, it
You
didn't
move
work.
on to the next thing really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
And then
nobody notices.
It's a thing too, right? It's the exact same thing where it's like people think it's impossible, or you're intentionally doing it, or you must have some kind of secret to it, because they don't think that it's like, I tried every single thing. Like, I went to 100 people and I asked them, pick a card, any card, and a majority of them said Queen of Hearts. So that gives me an idea, right? And it's the same thing with notes, or picking out notes for soloing and doing this kind of stuff. It's like, I played every single note combination with this thing, and it's just like, you just learn like, those notes don't really sound that good, so my fingers are not gonna press them.
Yeah.
Those notes
just
they sound
naturally they
okay.
don't normally go to the hot lava ones,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go on the stepping stone ones and avoid the hot lava ones.
And I think even that, like, we're not really like thinking like, oh, those are good notes, those are bad notes. It's just like your finger actually like builds its own muscle memory of like, I'm not gonna play those.
Goes there.
Yeah. And it's like we were talking about like Robert Johnson, right? And how people are like, oh, you signed, Aaron brought this up, it's like, you signed a deal with the devil to get this good. It's like, people don't think I went away for a couple years and I tried to play every single note on my guitar possible.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you just naturally get good.
Yeah.
Like if you try every single thing, it's
It
like,
couldn't have been practice.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the devil.
Gotta be the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Gotta be the
if you
devil.
look at like his history, he did like he was really terrible at guitar, and then he
Yeah.
went away for like a year or two, and then he came back,
Yeah.
and nobody like believed that he was that good because he sucked so badly before, you know. But he probably was just woodshedding that entire time, and that's why
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this when people tell me to like, oh, when you play music or if you're able to pick out notes out of thin air, it's like a magic trick. It's like, oh, like same thing with Aaron too, right? Like, oh, I really like what you did with comping. It's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. It's like sometimes
Yes.
you just
Comping. Yes.
you just get you get lucky, right? And you pick the right things. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, I was gonna mention that like you know when I was talking about the or when Aaron was talking about like you hear that riff before and you're like, oh, you know, like I want to repeat it. I figured Tim would appreciate that, like, you know, that G that I was that everybody plays. I've actually first heard that on a Bread song, which is
Yeah.
yeah, that's you know, you hear it and you're just like, okay, well, I recognize that, you know, like that riff or that sound. I'm just gonna emulate it. I'm gonna put it in whenever I have this shape. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you
that's like
can
a James
play
Taylor
it wherever.
signature.
Yeah. That was in the you sheltered me
Yeah.
from harm. Bread.
Yeah, Bread.
Figured Tim would appreciate T-Flow, like that 70s music, bud.
Yeah, that's another example, right? Or it's like another thing. People are like, "Oh my gosh, you came up with this yourself?" It's like, actually, I've been stealing from musicians for forever, and everybody does this. That's also the secret too.
Yeah.
It's like we just all take from each other, and you just play what sounds good. Yeah, pretty much it.
It's dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If I add
Dun
in,
dun 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 and dun 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 dun.
just take your favorite song and put like a cowbell or a hi-hat over it, and it's yours.
It's a completely new song. You add
yeah,
one
yeah.
note to it. It's a new song.
Yeah.
If I did,
And if you rap over it.
Yeah,
boom, different. That's mine now.
yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Andre said, "Do you have any good resolutions for 2025? I would like to try open tuning. Any tips for getting started or interesting ukulele players in that direction?"
Oh yeah, that's perfect. You know, like any kind of open tuning, I would, if you're going towards that direction. One way to think about it is like what is the open tuning spelling, or what chord are you playing with that open tuning? Because you know it has to, well, not maybe not has to, but then like the ones that that people work with usually tune to a certain chord. So this, it might not mean anything to a lot of people, like G, C, E, A. That's actually an A minor 7. You're tuning to an A minor 7. That's a minor, open minor 7 tuning, okay? Some of the open tunings that you can do is if you take this A, you tune it down to a G, for example. Now you have C, E, G, and 2 Gs. C, E, G just spells out a C chord. If you have this open A minor tuning, you tune your G to an A, for example. Then you tune your E to an F. Then you would have an open F chord, you know, like stuff like that you want to experiment with. Maybe tune G, C, E up a whole step, so it's kind of like playing an open D chord. or if you want another minor chord, you can do you can raise the G and the C by two, by 2 frets, or a whole step, and an E string by a half step. Then you have an open D minor chord. It's things like that. So if you want, if that's your resolution to kind of play with open, with open tunings, start out with with figuring out an easy chord that you want to tune your ukulele to, and then tune your ukulele to that chord so that you have an open, either major or minor tuning. And then as you get better at it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna tweak this out. I'm gonna, instead of just like a major chord, I'm gonna do an open major 7 chord, or like an open, like dominant 7 chord, like a C7. So if I'm gonna play blues, like I got just bar chord blues, kind of chords and stuff. So you can do that as well. There's lots of different ways that you can do it, but that's what I suggest if you want to go down that route of like doing experimental like tunings and stuff. Do open tunings first and then tweak it from there, because you got guys like James Hill doing like the bebe like tuning, BE, and that's it would be like B and E. Let's see, B and E. So you'd be like an E chord, but then it's just a 1 and 5 of that E chord. Like you can do a B, maybe BEBG, or BEGB. You can do that, and then it becomes an E minor chord. So there's like lots of different stuff that you can go to, but start out with open chord tuning, and then you can tweak it from there. Yeah. But what are other resolutions? What are other good resolutions? Last year I had the resolution of like, okay, I'm gonna learn at least 3 or 4 new like voicings, and I'm gonna incorporate them in my playing as much as possible. And lo and behold, this year I was working on like 9s. Okay, I was working on like what is it, like I was working on like this kind of minor 7, and then this kind of minor 7. So I was working on those 3 kind of voicings. This voicing, and then like this kind of voicing. So just it's as simple as that. And then now, like a year later, I'm 3 chords or 3 voicings better than I was last year, which is still a step forward. So as long as like you're taking steps forward, then it's all good. Even if it's just one, you know what I mean? You just choose one, and then you try to use that like chord shape or chord voicing, and as much as possible in your in your regular playing, and then you're gonna know where it fits, where it belongs, where it doesn't belong, and you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think, or it's like
What do you guys think?
one that we hear kind of a lot is like, I'm gonna learn the notes on my fretboard this year. And it's like, if you learn that, kind of like what we talked about, like you or in live coaching, you were telling people that they can like hunt and peck to learn how to use their like ear to hear notes and stuff. And the same exact thing, you can learn the notes on your fretboard, and then you hunt and peck to find out like, oh, okay, like this note is in this song. So I can hear it, I can play it, I know what note it is. You might start to learn all the other notes in the song, and you might learn scales or chords or like keys of songs too. So yeah, start off I don't know. I guess it might seem daunting to some people to learn the notes on their fretboard, but you can scale it back down, learn the notes on a single string or something, or learn the notes within the first 3 frets of your fretboard or whatever. But you'll get it.
Yeah, or inversions, that's like really helpful. Like, at least the first
really
inversion of a chord.
Yeah.
That will expand your playing pretty quickly from just the basic chords.
I think with any of these things, right, the first step always seems the biggest, but once you get into it, then you kind of realize like, oh, that first inversion, easy. I'll learn the second inversion too. I'll learn the third inversion. So yeah.
But with New Year's resolutions and stuff, like always start off with like something like attainable, so you feel like, okay, cool, I've done that, like I can cross that out already, like I mentioned, I just wanted to do 3, but if I do 1, like if I get used to 1, awesome, like if I can do 2, then awesome. If 3, then I've met my goal. If I meet my goal pretty early, then I can try for 4, I can try for 5 and stuff. So it's just it's just making yourself like take steps forward and feeling good about it.
Yeah. Also, like track your progress too, right? So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you feel like, because we tell people learn 2 songs a week, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then like you'll have a bunch of songs, but I think some people like eventually they're like, oh, I kind of ran out of songs to learn. I don't know. And it's like we can ask them, did you track how much songs you've learned over that time? Because if you look back, you'll
Yeah.
probably be like, oh, actually, like over a course of 2 months, if it's like 2 weeks per or 2 songs per week, I learned 8 songs over a course of 2 months, and that's quite a lot. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's you make sure that if you're feeling like, oh, I didn't accomplish my goal or whatever, also keep track of like how far you actually did come, because you'll probably surprise yourself with like maybe you didn't accomplish your goal, but I got farther than I thought I would have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Actually, going back to that open tuning question, because I just got this question yesterday. Somebody was asking, do you know any players that do slacky ukulele? Because it's one of those things that it exists, but not too many people do it. So I basically just said
No.
like James Hill and Jeff Peterson, but I don't know if you have anybody off the top of your head that does.
I mean, those you said the two names that I would I would think of, like Makana is another one that like might do like alternate tunings on their ukulele, but he rarely plays ukulele. But when
Yeah,
he
mostly
does,
guitar.
yeah, mostly guitar. So that's it. Like honestly, it's a pretty niche thing, to do. So, but I'm not saying there isn't, and some people do like, but like not for like whole albums. Like I know Jake has done like alternate tunings to stuff, and has played songs in alternate tunings. I've done alternate tuning songs, but it's not like you're gonna see a player exclusively play in like in alternate tunings. So Jake, check out the song "Floaters," from the Dragon album. That's I think it's in like B flat, like open B flat tuning, which is really cool. We've done a tutorial here on Ukulele Underground for romance, like the Amor. So that's in open A minor tuning. I've done something like that. I might have done something in open C tuning as well.
Oh, we have a
Waimanalo Blues is another one.
Yeah, Waimanalo Blues.
the
Okay,
solo
yeah,
version.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, solo version of that. So but as far as like exclusively playing in in different tunings, I wouldn't know of anyone who does that.
Yeah.
But other than like I'm pretty sure Makana would, because he's
Yeah.
he's the kind of eccentric that gets bored like playing normal things. Like he's so good. He's so good. Makana. If you guys have never heard of Makana, like pick up a Makana album and just zone out and just like let the music in. It's so good.
Yeah, and
So
he also
experimental.
sings too. So
Yeah.
he does
Yeah.
instrumental stuff, but he also sings.
But I think the
Or
reason
maybe
why
Barry Flanagan is another one from
Oh,
Papa.
okay.
Barry
Yeah.
Flanagan, another
But-
person
but-
that would do something like that.
Didn't wasn't there somebody that we're talking to about possibly doing a series on Ukulele Underground for Slacky, or was there?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. It was I think Kaiman and you, a person that
Yeah.
was gonna do
Yeah.
do
We're-
that, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it's more common to see open tuning on guitar, because open tuning on guitar is used for, at least for Hawaiian slacky guitar.
Yeah.
It's like you're using the low bass strings to fill the space of like a bass player.
Yeah.
And you're trying to fill the high space with the high strings too. So you're playing both instruments. But with the ukulele, it's like you don't.
Mostly, yeah, it's all trebles basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you have a low G,
Even if-
right? It's
yeah.
like still not like you're gonna be doing that like low boom 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 picking with the
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. But it's like I think also open tunings, like the reason why people choose open tunings is to kind of do what we were talking about, right, with that extension play. Like you're holding a chord and you're using your other fingers to play extensions or do
Yeah.
other stuff. And you do open tuning, so it makes holding a chord with one finger easier. So you're not like, it frees up more of your fingers to do other stuff. So yeah. Okay.
All right, next question.
Oh yeah, Chris said that Daniel Ho does some unique tunings too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Daniel Ho.
Yeah.
That's another one. But he doesn't play exclusively ukulele either. He does ukulele and guitar and bass. Like that guy plays everything.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's not like there's like a whole album where it's just like open tuning ukulele. It's like yeah, all these guys that we mentioned is maybe like one or two,
Yeah.
that's like like different tuning like ukuleles, but just like with the Jake thing, floaters. Um yeah. I think there might be another one that like he did with like an open tuning. But that's the one right at the top of my head. Cause I remember trying to figure that song out. I was like, this is impossible. Let's try to figure it out. And then I got a hint because he actually like he plays the open tuning right off the bat. Like he plays. It's almost like he goes, but he
Yeah.
does. But he does like the harmonics of like and then he goes into the song
Yeah.
like, oh,
It's a
he gave me a
clue.
hint like right off the bat. Yeah, it's a clue. a clue. Now I gotta sit in my thinking chair and try to
Yeah.
figure it out.
So figuring that out, were you figuring it out by
Yeah.
ear? And did you like start trying to figure it out like as if it was tuned in standard tuning before
Oh yeah,
like
oh yeah, absolutely.
oh my gosh.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is how is he playing these chords? Like,
Yeah.
because it's like it's so open and he's playing a lot, like with the as soon as he goes high, and I'm like, you're not holding
Yeah, yeah,
here
yeah.
and
Those
while
notes are
playing
too
that. Like,
far
how are
apart.
you? Yeah, how are you doing that? So I had to figure it out, and I'm just like, oh, there's the clue, like right off the
Yeah.
bat, he plays that open chord. I'm just like, tricky.
I wonder if people learning now have that same experience where it's like I remember specifically like trying to learn a song by ear, playing along, and then the song goes lower than my guitar is able to go. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, how did they do that? And then you learn later on there's like, oh, they're using a drop tuning. That's why.
Drop tuning.
I was like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah. So that's the trick.
But only for that one string. So yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like I'm playing like drop C tuning too, right? Like with metal and stuff. And then it's like all of a sudden you hear that like really low, like, and
Yeah.
it's like, my instrument doesn't do that. What happened? Yeah.
Impossible.
Well, I mean, like, I had experiences in doing, like, Kyle Critter Boy songs, which would sometimes be, like, half-step down tunings, and
Yeah.
Pure Heart, which is half-step down tunings and stuff. So, I wasn't a stranger to, like, okay, this doesn't sound like what my ukulele is doing, so there's got to be something else. So immediately, like, I'm like, that you can't do that. Like, you can't do that with normal, like, with normal ukulele, and boom, lo and behold, got him. Tried to trick me, but no.
Yeah. That is a good like hint, right? Because like even artificial harmonics, you can get those notes, but it won't sound the same. Or maybe you can't, but it's like when you hear a natural harmonic in a different tuning, it sounds different than like an artificial harmonic replicating those notes. Yeah. Okay. Chris has a question.
Yeah.
He said, can you give a high-level summary of what you've learned from Abe, and do you have any future lessons planned from him or other teachers to keep taking your ukulele playing to another level?
Ooh, like I pay him for a reason, so that so like that knowledge that he has bestowed upon me is something that I've paid for. So I'd like to keep that for myself. I'd like to keep that for myself. Yeah, I mean, people can also hire Abe. I feel like, and I don't want it to seem that like, okay, cool, I'm learning this from Abe, and then I'm just gonna go and do that same content on Ukulele Underground. I'm just not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. That's more for me, and it's one of those like. I wouldn't even know where to begin, like how, because like you'd have to get to like a certain level and then understand the things that like we're kind of working on, but for the most part, like just out of like teacher student confidentiality, like I'd like to keep some of those things for myself. I do have like recorded videos of our sessions and stuff, and let's just say I still watch them like over just to be like, what is that part again, what did he say about this, or what was his advice on this thing, and
I wasn't ready for it yet.
yeah. I feel like I'm at a pretty good like high level of playing, and even then he's given me so much to kind of think about and like and consider as far as like choices and voicings and technique and stuff like that. So That's pretty much as much as I can
Yeah.
I can
Or
reveal.
anything
It's just
just in
that, yeah.
general that you like learn from him, not any specific techniques or anything, but just in
Um,
general, like an approach to thinking about music or
Yeah, like I mainly try to get, advice as far as like timing is one that we've definitely been working on. My timing is terrible, teaching me how to practice timing better, how to basically lay out what I'm about to do and how that fits into the time that that I have in within like a certain solo, for example. I have like in a solo, it's say like 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars, 12 bars, whatever, right? So in just like the one bar, I have 4 beats. Like how do I like split up those 4 beats, and what is the most or the best approach to getting that? Like him as a drummer primarily, it's kind of interesting getting insights from a drummer of like how he would tackle like 1, 2, 3, 4 like beats, 4 beats in just that one measure, right? So you have like quarters, eighths, sixteens, and then triplets of like quarter triplets, quarter eighths, or not quarter eighths, but quarter triplets. No, yeah, quarter triplets and eighth triplets, 16th triplets, and things like that that are just like, oh, I never really like even thought about or cognizantly at least. So it's things like that where I'm like, okay, I'm approaching it a little bit differently now, and it's made me kind of look back at some of the solos and songs that I've written. And while I was doing especially while I was doing the jazz band rearrangements and stuff, like I don't know if you saw that that podcast that we did when we broke down those things, but like Sarah was right. Like I do have a lot of like triplets that I'm adding in there that I'm not even aware of, and just like some weird kind of rhythm patterns that I was just doing, not I wasn't aware that I was doing. And now with Abe's help and practicing a certain way, it's like being doing those but more intentionally. That's kind of like what I've been doing. And like another one is to kind of solo in a way that I haven't. I think I mentioned one thing that that I have worked on is I've been a player that goes left to right. Now I'm trying to be a player that goes left to right and up and down. It's I'm not forgetting the fact that like, oh, I can still make melodic lines going left and right, because consecutive notes turn out a little bit more melodic than notes that kind of jump. But I can also jump up and down, with arpeggios, and choosing like how to arpeggiate. It's a lot, and it's like I'm still working on it, and it's yeah, it's some like super high level stuff that I never really considered. Like I'm just because I'm self taught, like, and I mean I've had mentors and stuff, but it's things that I should have learned in the beginning, so that I would be more cognizant of like of things that I can and can't do with my ukulele.
That like triplet stuff though, it's like a lot of people, I mean, like that's the whole premise of like any jazz or swung music, right? Is that there's some
Yeah,
kind of like triplet feel to make it feel like uneven, right? So they're
yeah,
introducing some, or not necessarily triplets either, it's like some kind of tuplet sound, right? So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
an unevenness to it. But then yeah, I think a lot of people can naturally play it, but to like stop and think like, okay, I'm playing
Mm,
like 5 notes here in the space of 1 note here, and then to break it
mm.
down like that is like, people don't really. They're just like, you kind of just do it. Like even how people explain like swing
Yeah.
feeling, right? Like it's like you just feel it, and then it's like you
Right,
can play
right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
Cause so I've like I said, I listen to like my my solos, and like, and I'm not talking about like like what are my note choices. It's more just like how am I playing that phrase. It's just, and I tend to get into like phrases that kind of have the same, they don't sound the same because they're different notes, but rhythm wise I kind of approach them the same kind of way, with like with different tweaks here and there. What Abe has done for me now is just like, okay, now don't do it like that. Like do it like, listen to how you do it, and then maybe instead of so instead of like playing It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all quarter notes. Maybe do it like da 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 da. No. So 1, 2, 3. Like there's that triplet in there, which makes it sound a little bit different rhythm wise. And then change up the notes. So it's making me better in the way that like, okay, here's all the ways that I've approached like soloing, and then here's like new ways that I can do it by breaking down what I can change like in my playing. And it's about like like choosing different notes, yes, but also choosing different rhythms to do, which only really like a drummer can do for you.
Yeah. Or somebody
It was like it was the perfect choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody who invests so much into rhythm, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
And even I think like you saying that your timing is bad, I think people would be like, what are you talking about? You're like, so you play well and your music ability is good. But that kind of goes to show that it's like there's always like something that you can
Kids, there are some scary monsters out there, kids. Like
Yeah.
don't look under your beds, because there's some scary musical monsters out there. And I had to ask one for help.
Well, I think and that's a good teacher, right? A good teacher
Yeah.
will-
Oh yeah.
a good teacher knows the scope of like knows a wider scope, or they probably
Yeah,
know
yeah.
like have that wider perspective than you, and so they can tell you like, hey, you've been doing it this way, which works,
Yeah.
but here is
Yeah.
something to try just to push you a little bit further and expand your viewpoint a little bit more. So
Yeah.
I think for anybody, like if that's what you can feel, or it's like if you feel like
Yeah.
oh, I like, is there anything more that I can work on? It's like there's always something more.
There's always something. But I mean, I'm pretty sure even to Abe, there's like even scarier monsters than
Yeah, of
that.
course.
Like that he's probably that he's met or worked with or whatever. So like, for people like, thank you for for thinking that like, oh, Aldrine's pretty good. Like he's pretty good at what he does. But yeah, like there's always somebody better. There's always somebody better than that person. Always somebody better than that person. And there's some really scary monsters underneath the bed, kids.
Yeah, and there's pockets of music too, right? That people
Yeah. Oh,
specialize
yeah,
in
yeah.
that will yeah.
Oh, like my friend last year or the year before, my friend Keen Bot visited me. And he used to live here on Kauai, and then he moved over to New York, like studied and taught like jazz guitar like in New York, like of all, you know what I mean, like in all places. And then he works in government now, but then he never he never forgot how to play really 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 good like music. So he's kind of showing me like stuff that he's into, and it's just like the most like out there kind of stuff that I'm like, I don't even know if this is enjoyable anymore, Keen. Like I don't know if I want to hear things in like 7/9 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I can't groove to like, it's hard. How do you groove to this? Much less solo to it, Like
Yeah.
So
But if
and
you
that's
can
there's
groove to
some
it, then it
yes,
becomes enjoyable.
and that's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like my brain has to like, okay, if we're doing 7/4, something like that simple, then it's just like, okay, you just have one measure of 4, then you have one measure of 3, then you just alternate, or one measure of 3, another measure of 3, and then one measure of 1, or one measure of 2, and I'm just like, dude, stop, Keen, you're confusing me, man. Because he goes at like, yeah, you could count it that way, but this, like, as far as phrases goes, like he changes it up like every however many bars. I'm just like, dude, that's confusing, man. Like that's why would you do that? He's like, just because he can. I'm like, and he goes like, that's just how high level he is. He can do stuff with that kind of like tricky timing. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, how do I groove to this?
Then your audience shrinks the better that you get.
Yeah, exactly. Adam Neely has a video where he's like playing a concert, and he took a video of the audience, and he shows how like people are bobbing or clapping along or swinging their head, and there's like people over here are doing it to 4/4. People over here are doing it to 3/4. People over here are doing it to 7/4, and it's like all of it at the same time, right? And it's like none of them are necessarily wrong. It's just like how do you feel the music too, right? So it's like crazy stuff like that. But I think like Yeah, it would be interesting to hear Abe's take too, where it's like he's a drummer, and it's like maybe from his perspective, it's like note choices are like something that I don't consider more so than like rhythmic choices, right? Too. So it's like there's always something for anybody to work on, you know. It's like
Yeah, not that he's not good at no choices, because he's also excellent at that. He's just there's some scary people, scary good ukulele players, and I would like to hang with some monsters. That's all. And you know, like I'm perfectly fine where I am. Like I write music the way I write music, and I make music the way that I want to make music. But at the same time, you know, we're all students, right? Like I'm just constantly learning, and I want to learn more. Maybe I can write better. Maybe I can play better if I learn more things. Like, you know, I don't want to limit myself. I'm like a lifetime student of the ukulele.
Yeah, and I think it's just fun, right? Fun to learn new things, expand yourself.
Yeah. Carl in the chat said, if the goal is to be so good that nobody likes it, I'm already there. Well, I mean, because music is such a personal thing, like if you can do it so that you like it, as long as you're working towards that, I think that's sort of the goal. Yeah. A lot of musicians are just that, right? They're trying to get good enough that it matches like what they have in their head. You know, they can get close to being able to play what they hear in their head. So.
Or I think also musicians, you get better, so you get recognition from your friends. You can do something and then your friends will be like, nobody else in the audience will be like, pick it up or anything, but you'll play something and your friend will be like, did you just play that lick in the middle of that? That was so cool, you know? And when that happens, it's like, that person was my one audience member for the night, and I got them. I nailed it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, man! Like, why the hell did you think I wrote like, you know, like a measure of 9/8, and then a measure of 2/4, and then another measure of 9/8? One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2.
Yeah.
And then
It's for me, for my friends.
Pretty much only Mike knows what that's a reference to as well. So it goes even deeper.
Yeah. So it's I'm, you know, I write for my friends, my audience, and the people who get it. They're like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last minute questions, Kai?
I'm looking through. I don't think, or maybe there is some. Maybe I'll come across.
Answer in
one.
5? No answer in 5s.
I don't know. Or we'll let people ask if they have any. But I also wanted to say that Diana said, "Aloha from the UK. Congrats on winning the Yuki Awards for Best Podcast for the second time."
We won again? Are you kidding me? We did? Wait, what?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Wait, what? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this right now.
I think they just did
the
the
live stream
Yeah.
was earlier today.
So if if that's true, then
what? What? I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah.
That is breaking news.
Yeah.
Breaking news from the UK. Because I believe somebody from the UK. That's where they're streaming from. Yeah. So like, this is, what is it? Anarchy in the Ukulele.
And then mostly Crunchy Wendy said, "Yes, you guys won. Congratulations."
Hell yeah.
good things do happen to bad people.
Oh my gosh.
Things happen to bad people, everyone. Oh my god, there it is. They just streamed it an hour ago. And again, we won. Oh, that's right. One more year, baby. That's right. I'm gonna have to ask for the actual award this year, okay? And I'll turn it into a belt. Let's win it again next year, so each one of us can have one.
Oh my gosh.
And no, in all seriousness, before we get to wrestling with this, thank you for the people who voted, who remembered to vote, or you know, whatever. You guys made that your mission to make us win, you know, to have us win. Thank you. We appreciate it. And the thing is, we love making this podcast. We love that you guys tune in live, like a bunch of you every week to this podcast. A bunch of you guys download it and listen to it in your in your commute. We appreciate every single one of you. I know I'm usually a heel in this podcast, but now I'm gonna just go face for a little bit and just thank you. Appreciate that. Wow. I think my sickness just went away. I think like if I was coming down with something, I think that cured it. I think the love and support from our family, from our podcast family, that's all of you watching right now. You guys are all family. I'm not even like, oh, our supporters, and no, they're family, friends, right? Just like Jim Bills. We love Jim Bills.
Yeah. No matter how
I guess I didn't need to say that without laughing.
Okay.
We love Jim. We love Jim. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess 2025 is another like okay. I'm gonna need to ask for those 2 awards, and then I'm gonna need to create a belt, with it. Where? I was looking forward to burning this whole place down, Kai, but I guess this podcast will be up for another year. That's right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for supporting us. Anything else? Go ahead.
I kind of feel like I don't know.
Okay.
If we win the next year, I think we just gotta end it. Like we can't continue anymore. We can't. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, like two time winner. That's it's not a coincidence, Kai.
Undeniable.
Lightning. Yeah, lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, buddy. Right? Like that means we're actually pretty good. Like last time I thought it was just a fluke. So. Good things do happen to bad people.
Yeah. I think that is exactly it. The lesson will end on for the year, right? And the podcast. Good things happen to bad people. Oh
Good things do happen to bad people.
Oh my gosh.
That's the name of this episode is Good Things Do Happen to Bad People. I don't know who we beat for this, but taste the salty tears of other podcasts that didn't make it.
So sorry.
Oh yeah, see, I'm back to my heel persona, man. See, there you go. Just bathing it, just.
Yes.
Oh, Kai, see, just embrace it, man. Just embrace the, just embrace it, buddy. But I guess you're the face in this, so good. Yeah, you gotta be the good guy.
Yeah. It's just like the last time we got it too. It's like. You guys really like us? It's like,
you guys like this?
Who's listening to this?
Who's listening to this?
Everyone, apparently. Okay.
All
right. We're two-time award-winning podcast. Everybody. Okay. 2 times. That doesn't just happen. That's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. That's. Yeah. I'm aware of that. Just. Okay, I'm emailing them like today. I feel like and just asking for those awards.
It's like
thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you can just fall backwards into 2 awards, producing a podcast for 2 awards.
Good things do happen to bad people. No, thank you guys. We love you. Okay. Check out ukuleleontheground.com if you want to learn how to play the ukulele. That's where we're from. We teach over at ukuleleontheground.com. If you want to take that ukulele playing to that next level with some premium content, you can check out UU Plus at ukuleleontheground.com. You want to buy an ukulele, you're like, man, I got all this Christmas money from Christmas. I want to spend it somewhere where my money will go towards some real changes. Okay, and that is at shop.ukuleleontheground.com, because shop.ukuleleontheground.com help support your 3 award-winning local poor boys. That's with our and get rid of as many rubber bands and paper clips that is holding our studio together by buying some stuff off of shop.ukuleleontheground.com. Buy a ukulele there, buy some a la carte lessons. get some Ukulele Underground merch. I feel like we have just a few more days or a couple more days for right here that right there. See that? That's only there for like a couple more days. That Christmas sweater, and then it's gone like forever. I'm sorry, you had your chance. You had all month to get one. Okay, so can't stop the drop sweater. Gotta get it now. And so check out shop.ukuleleunderground.com. Kahai, is there anything else? What new lesson, Aaron, in a couple days?
Yeah, and it actually, this lesson incorporates a lot of the things that we were talking about on this podcast today.
It's rhythm.
There's triplets in the
Triplet
picking.
rhythms.
And then it was the original song, like we teach it in G, but the original song was recorded a half step down. So that's like another thing that we were talking about. Also, like the chord extensions, you do a lot of
extensions,
like taking notes off and adding them on, just in places where there are spaces in the melody line, and so
it's a fun song. It's a fun song, so make sure you check that out. And also, this Thursday is open mic. So we have open mic this coming Thursday, January 2. Okay. We will see you guys there. ukuleleunderground.com, open mic, Thursday, 12 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. All right, we'll see you guys all later. Thank you again for voting us best podcast, ukulele podcast of the. You know what? I'm not even gonna take the ukulele out. I'm challenging Joe Rogan right now, everybody. So,
podcast of all time.
Best podcast of all time. Not even 2024, 2025 at this point. You know. Well, we'll see you folks next time. Have a great one. I love everyone. Love you. Bye bye.